As my latest videos on Tank Company had some problems, welcome back everyone! Today we take a look at the Object 268, the tier 8 tank destroyer from the Russian tech tree that is definitely a top tier tank and probably one of the greatest tank destroyers you can acquire currently into the game. We are not gonna bother too much with the statistics, I'm just gonna summarize real quick while showing you the attribute infos, but basically this tank has a great gun, a naturally angled armor which is your main ally specifically when you are a new player, and on top of that the mobility is not that bad. So considering every single one of those statistics, I can tell you that this tank is quite versatile and definitely a go-to tank. That being said, what can you expect from the Object 268? Which kind of players should play this tank, etc, etc? Let's answer all of your questions. Starting by who is supposed to play with the Object 268. You see it currently in the Russian tech tree. There are two different types of tank destroyer. The Object 120, which is the tank with which you're gonna have a really great accuracy plus an amazing mobility. And on the second hand, the Object 268, known to be a little bit more confident on every single statistics that this game has to offer, because it's reliable in pretty much every single one of the statistics. So when I tell you that, you're probably thinking that the Object 268 is definitely the tank to go for, and you could be right on some aspects. But if you are really experienced, and specifically with tank games like World of Tank Blitz, World of Tank PC, etc., maybe that the Object 120 would be a better bet. But if you are new to these kind of games, then the choice is made. You should go for the 268. Now that said, how are you supposed to play it? In Tank Company, unlike many other tank games on phones, you can't allow yourself to play too aggressively, otherwise you're gonna get totally destroyed. After all, we are talking about the 15 versus 15 matchmaking, which means that you need to adapt. And to adapt, it's simple. When you're playing with the tank destroyer, it's actually the easiest. You need to camp. You wait for your allies to spot for you. And on top of that, if you want to make sure not to get destroyed even after being spotted, you can try to put your tank on a little slope in order to naturally or artificially increase your naturally angled armor. What do I mean by that? Take a look at the 268 armor profile and you will understand that the tank doesn't have to be angled a certain way in order to get its armor to the maximum. The tank is naturally angled. And obviously, even if it's something great for new players because it will allow you not to get punished for any single mistakes you make, for example, being in the open, at the same time, it will allow you to use this armor correctly by going up a slope. Because when you do, you will see that your tank will increase a little bit its angle using your 5 degrees of gun depression to keep being able to fire. And well, you're gonna see in this replay, we are gonna have plenty of great shots and great bounces. Now, of course, we never play first line with this tank because, as you can see right now, we're playing against mediums that are definitely not the best in terms of penetration, and this is what keeps us safe here. If we were to play against tank destroyers frontally or even some heavies frontally, we would be easily destroyed. Here it's not going to be the case because, luckily for us, we get bounces everywhere. Knowing that the more far away we are, the farthest we are from the opponents, the easier it becomes for us to bounce them. And this is the mechanism we are currently using, sniping many shots on those enemies. So there we go. You're gonna see what I'm talking about when I told you about the slope. Let's take a quick break here to show you what I exactly mean by that. What we want to do here, maybe I'm gonna keep it like that. What I want to show you is that when you angle the tank like this, you saw I was up that slope, and it allowed me to increase my armor profile here and here because this tank is naturally angled. And this is what saved me from the rest. This is what allows me to get many bounces. And this is the kind of things that you should be expected to do with the 268. Now on top of that, there is something juicy to talk about, but the whole line, the ISU 152, the SU-152, the Object 704, the Object 268, every single tank of the line is just great to play with. And to be fair, it's really nice from Tank Company to allow us to have tanks that are quite enjoyable from the start to finish, because it's definitely not going to be the case in other tanks to come. So yeah, if you are looking for something fun and effective at the same time, there is the tank you need. Now let's focus a little bit on what's currently happening in the replay. As you can see, we are already climbing up to 6.6 thousand damage, and don't worry boys, it's gonna keep climbing because we are gonna get a 10 plus K damage gain. Of course, it's easy because currently there are a lot of bots specifically at top tier in this game, which makes it easier to play against, because obviously bots are not as good as real players. But sometimes, maybe sometimes they are. And well, we just have to snipe a couple of shells on them. As long as they are not trying to push us, we are safe, because the upper part of my hull is the most armored, and it seems like they can't penetrate it. So there we go, blasting shells on shells. And now things are going to be interesting, because as you can see, there are 4 tanks at the moment that are pushing to me. And now I need to select the targets, and this is why I'm going straight on the 268, because it's the one that has the more penetration, so it's the one I gotta kill. Now we focus on the 934, sorry, and luckily for us, he decided to ram itself against us, which means that now we have the perfect way to get the pattern. We sneak a shell, we are trying to go up here in order to kill it without having to shoot. It works, and now we only have to deal with the Sheridan that just bounced us. So bang, there we go, and now we gotta make sure that the guy can't penetrate us at all. How do we do that? We stick our tank to him, and I try to make him shoot in my gun. It's the most armored part, and therefore the one that he can't penetrate. So if he shots directly into the gun, I should be safe. This one goes in, he snapped a shell into the gun, and now I'm gonna stick myself to him. Come on, I'm frontally putting my gun into his, it works, bam, thank you Sheridan for coming, 10,000 damage, 8 kills, and still 1 guy to go for. Now we're not gonna bother, we are gonna accelerate a little bit the replay, because it's gonna take a little bit too much time, otherwise just wait and comment on nothing, because there is nothing to comment here, it's just us running. So pack, there we go, we circle all the way around to be sure to sneak our shell on the E100, and just like that, bang, thanks for coming E100, we got what we were looking for. Are we gonna be able to sneak in another one? As long as he's not taking care of us, we should be able to, and it seems like the guy doesn't want to do anything. So bang, there we go, and now we are gonna try to hide a little bit, because I feel like this E100 is going to come back soon on us. So let's wait. You see that once again we are using the slope method, because by only showing the upper part of the hull like that and angling it using the heel, it allows us to be sure that we are gonna get a bounce. And this is what is crazy about what's currently happening. So there we go, we are gonna try to sneak in another one on the 100. Unfortunately, he's taking a look at us. Not a problem, we are gonna go upper heel right now, derping a shell straight in, and now we are gonna angle, and you're gonna see we bounced. Why did we bounce? Because we used the little slope to artificially increase again our armor, which allows us then to snap the last remaining shell on the 100, securing our 9th kill, and on top of that securing the nearly 13,000 damage. All of that thanks to the glorious Object 268 and its amazing camo that I managed to unlock simply because I got it into an event that occurred not so long ago. In definitive, I wanted to highlight to you the armor profile, and there we go. If you use your 5 degrees of gun depression, which should get you something like this, you see that your armor becomes definitely crazier, sitting at more than 400 millimeters at some point. And if you use it wisely, then people will bounce you, and hopefully if they do, you are gonna wreck them. So to summarize, in my opinion, the Object 268 is currently the best tank destroyer you can acquire in Tank Company. It's definitely a go-to tank, and obviously as it's Russian, you are gonna have the Russian bias with you, and this is exactly what you need. So hopefully you enjoyed. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like and share, and tell me in the comments what next tank from Tank Company you want me to review. See ya.